What's going on, everybody? Jero here, back with another VOD review. This time we will actually be featuring Prismat. A very kind viewer and commenter gave me the heads up that I was misinformed, and I was basically watching a review of a review, it seemed like. So that first video that we did, that was actually Entropy playing a match. Still got a lot of good content out of it, no issues on that. But yeah, I misled everyone a little bit for that, and I apologize. So this time, we are going to watch a Prismat video, and this is from... I'm not exactly sure which event this was, but this was a tournament match that took place about 7 or 8 days ago. And I liked this one that I picked out just because, again, as I was scouring through, I saw that it was not a stock matchup, right? You know, I've already seen plenty of Kaisas, what have you. We actually have kind of avoided Yi for the most part on this channel, which, for no particular reason. I'm interested in getting plenty of Yi games in as well. But this one here, as you'll see, we have an Annie versus a Sett. So, nice to see a couple of different champions highlighted here. And I figured we can go ahead and get right on into it. Just getting the board a little set up here. And we have the reveal. We have Annie versus Sett. And we are loading Dreaming Tree versus... Don't believe I recognize that one right away. Let's do our trademark pause and see what we're working with. Can't understand the gameplay if you don't know the battlefields we're fighting on. Alright, so... Dreaming Tree, first time you choose a friendly unit with a spell each turn. Draw one, and then that one there we have... Monastery of Hirana. When you conquer here, you may spend a buff to draw a card. Sure, so that lines up. That's gotta be Sett's best battlefield, right? I can't imagine a better battlefield for Sett. So they're trying to start off strong and then hopefully maybe be able to tailor their way into one of the other couple of games. But yeah, that one seems incredibly strong. That makes sense to me. And we'll keep it going. Obviously, without knowing any of the immediate card choices, Prismat's game plan here, we're going to, be pretty spell dense. We want to be able to take advantage of Annie's legend ability. Looks like we have an opening hand, deckhand, and Kaisa and Vi. So, some decent units. I'm not sure if we're on the play or the draw. I'm not sure if we're first or second. But I would be reasonably confident we're going to put the Vi back, right? Yep. I think that makes sense because she's not really that strong of a unit in the early game. You don't want to have to you don't want to have to recycle the resource for her. And you can't take full advantage of her ability, of course. Starting off with a Cythria. Drew Darius. So our mid game is going to be pretty good. Spend a buff to draw a card. Yeah, so Sett getting to go first here looks pretty strong. Let me make sure I understand exactly what the deckhand's text is. It looks like we got to immediately conquer, which is, of course, very valuable. And potentially make it a little more difficult for the enemy to get the proc there. We, of course, don't have a buff to spend, so we don't get to draw the card. Yeah, you just may play it onto an open battlefield. Yep, perfect. Very, very efficiently costed unit for that ability. So, I mean, the hope here is that we can hold our hand is pretty bad as far as, like, we don't actually have a trick to represent, unfortunately. And we're just Kiana, buff, and they're just going into the open battlefield instead of trading. That makes sense to me. We get our point for holding, and are we just going to jam Kaisa here? Might be nice to take advantage of the fact that our opponent is fully tapped out. We don't have to play around anything. The problem with the Kaisa line here, let me pause and make sure I understand the text on that one as well. The problem is our Kaisa is just going to get bodied by the Kiana, right? So that play's not really that interesting. Deflect. Draw one. Okay, so it would just be a trade, but we just don't have any tricks, right? So there's still a lot of inherent fear in wanting to make that play. But I don't think we have a lot of other, like, particularly good options. I don't think we want to just jam Darius without being able to ready it. That doesn't sound very good either. And then, while Pris is thinking, I want to make sure I understand what that middle card does in our hand as well. Traveling Merchant, yeah. When I move, discard one, draw one. Just some Vi enabling, some rummaging, as it were. That makes sense. It feels bad, but I kind of think we just have to jam the Kaisa. Yeah. I don't think we have another play that makes really any sense. Our draw is a little awkward. Oh, they've got might. Oh no. So tough. Ends up just being a trade because that's the buff that we had to expend. So we only got to the Cytheria only got to a 4 might. It didn't get to get the maximum 5 might. Still terrible for us though because we don't get the card off Kaisa either. Really, really tough. And then we retreated the deckhand, of course, because it was just going to get destroyed. And that is Sabotage. Choose an opponent, reveal their hand, choose a non-unit card from it, and recycle that card. All right. Nice little discard action. I hadn't seen that one yet. Yeah, I feel like the enemy is pretty far ahead in this spot. If all they were able to add is a Poro, though, that's actually quite beatable. And they wanted to save their resources. They wanted to make that play overplaying their Sett champion unit, which I think we can surmise means that they've got some more expensive cards in their hand. Drawing Flash has some potential. We still don't have a really good angle with this Darius, which is unfortunate. That's what we would like to do. But yeah, we just don't really have any angle for it. Take our point there. We don't have any buffs to expend, obviously, so that is not an angle we get to abuse. And we're just going to reinforce and play Kaisa. I mean, I think this makes sense. It feels terrible, but I do think it makes sense. And are we even, like, how interested are we in even flashing to protect our 2 deckhands? I feel like they're not that important. but we'll see what the enemy does here and see how important we think those extra 2 might units are. Because you certainly don't want to let them get destroyed for free. Because we're not really, like, threatening protecting anything else, right? Like, if our Kai'Sa was also in a battlefield and they just attacked the right battlefield first, you could let it go, but... Alright, so they're just reinforcing, it looks like. I wonder if that means they're going to retreat the Kai'Sa, or the Kiana. I wouldn't hate that play. But we don't get to draw the card, right? I don't think we get to draw the card. It's when you conquer, yes? Yeah. I would be reasonably interested in retreating this Kiana, maybe, but maybe he just wants to... Oh, we're just going in. We're trying to get the trade here. See, I might be really tempted to just let this trade happen. It's 4 versus 4. We prevent... Yeah, I was going to say we prevent the conquer point. I think Pris makes a really good read here. I think saving Flash makes a lot of sense. Bodyguard is not the perfect draw, but we do at least have the ability to play Darius this turn and our Legion Guard, or another deckhand if we so choose. And then we have Flash up on our opponent's turn because of our Annie ability. I think this is probably our best turn of the game that we're going to have. It's tough, though. The problem is we are kind of trapped on the left battlefield, right, on Dreaming Tree, because we can't deal 9 without double attacking in some fashion, and then we don't get to remove the Kiana anyways because of the Sett ability, correct? So yeah, I think this play makes a lot of sense. Just go for the free conquer and try and draw a card and add to our options. Oh, they have something here too. That's not what we wanted to see. And then I need to remind myself of that one. That is challenge. Choose a friendly unit and an enemy unit. They deal damage equal to their mights to each other. So the enemy is doing that, presumably choosing his Kiana. And it's like really safe for the opponent to do that because we can just use our Sett ability if we lose the exchange, but we don't have anything, of course. So that's tough. That's tough. What do we even do here now? Do we just... Yeah, we just deckhand. I think that makes sense. And then just Darius, spend our resources. I agree. He actually does ready, does he not? Because... Or was that our third spell? We only played 3 and 5. I think the Darius should be ready. Right? Because I know that... I just found out that if the Darius is the second spell, it does see itself on its ability. So I actually think the Darius should be ready, but... I don't think we were attacking... Or I don't think we were sending him anywhere anyways. So I think that's probably why Pris did that. I think he probably just, like, didn't care. Because we weren't going to send it in anywhere anyways. God, this draw has just been so awkward. Our opponents had some, like, very impressive turns. They got us with both the might and the challenge. And we just, like, kind of had to sit and watch it happen. We're really regretting just not having, like, some of our red removal or our tricks. They retreated to leave the Kiana in. That's interesting. That is interesting. We've just got another deckhand here. Really tough. Yeah, I mean, you hate just giving them all of the hold points, but I'm not really sure I think any of our other options make really any sense at all. The other problem going on here is, like, we just have this Annie that we would like to play, but we don't have any relevant spells in our trash at the moment. Like, no Void Seekers, no Falling Stars, just nothing. Up to 5. I think this makes sense. We gotta at least try and keep point parity so we don't fall too far behind and at least give ourselves an avenue. That's a really good play. I didn't actually clock that. Really colored me surprised. Really good play by Pris. Gets to pull the double attack with Darius because flashes the second spell. Not surprised Pris found a really good line for a game that really just looks super lost. Picking up the flash again is pretty good. I mean, I'm actually really impressed with how Pris played this game. I think our draw was pretty terrible, all things considered, and he's given himself an avenue to win because the enemy can only get to 7 points here, and we get to go into our next turn with Darius plus 2 other units and a deckhand, which I guess doesn't actually accomplish anything, right? But and then because of the flash, we get to potentially pull off the double Darius attack again. Oh no, I guess we don't because we're obliged to use the flash here to protect our Darius. Yeah, so it's going to be really hard for us to take both battlefields, but that's what we have to try to do. 8. And yeah, we don't care about that buff though. And they just need to move into that battlefield and go up to 7. No, there's no way they can leave it open. Yeah, I don't even think that's a question. And then they're thinking about where they want to reinforce. I would be really tempted to reinforce because we have to take both battlefields. I guess it doesn't actually matter then, right? We have to take both regardless, so we need to accumulate just infinite might. Yeah, and I think we're locked out, unfortunately. I don't think we can take over both. Stack deck, try to find something. Which one? What is the exact text on Ride the Wind? I think we're cooked, unfortunately. Yeah, just move a friendly unit and ready it. So, I mean, that gives us the angle of Darius attack. Then we can get it up to 7. And then we have another 5, so we have 12. So we're still 1 short here because this is 13. Tough. It looks like we're really close. Looks like we're really close. We're like 1 might away from a trade. 2 might away from a lead. But even a trade would be excellent because we could just deckhand for the other battlefield, right? Like we could Darius take this battlefield, and then we could deckhand it as our second spell. Ready the Darius. Oh, we're actually so close because then we could ride the wind, the deckhand, and then we would just need the ability to move the Darius. It's actually so crazy how close it is. We're like one ability to move a unit or 1 might away from being able to win. So yeah, the Ride the Wind just, it's so close, but it's not quite enough. So we're just gonna jam this Kaisa, and we're probably playing Kaisa and accelerating it, of course, trying to draw a card, right? Oh, I guess we just don't get to draw a card is the problem. So we're making this attack. We're sending in 8. And presumably we're removing the buff on... Presumably we're dealing the damage. I guess it doesn't actually matter if we do it to the Sett or the Hirana, right? I don't think it really matters. So we did it to the Hirana. Oh, we did. We had 10. Interesting. Why did that work? All right, Pris is a master. I mean, finding Void Seeker there, he actually won the game, right? Let's. That was kind of hard to follow there at the end. So why is this? This is 10. Oh, so we just got double buff. Okay. Right. Yeah, Darius is +2, of course. Yeah, so this is 10 versus 10. They save Sett. We send in here, we draw, we go up to 7. And then we flash. Flash doesn't draw a card, though, right? What am I missing? How did we... We drew the flash from the Kaisa, and then... Why did we draw the extra card? I think he was just saying he was dead. I think that's what happened. So I think we actually lost that game, right? Is what he's saying. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure we actually lost that game as Pris. Really well played, though. Crazy game. These games do get really wild. I'm really impressed with that game, though. I think as I'm starting to get more acclimated to the cards and not having to look up quite as many and understanding a lot of the sequencing and game interactions, I definitely get the vibe we got massively outdrawn that game. I feel like our draw was just terrible. Like there was such a large window where we just didn't get to play our anti-champion card because we had no spells worth anything to pick up. Got a little sideboarding going on from Pris. Want to backtrack that a little bit. I want to see what he's thinking about for his cuts. Cutting a Void Seeker feels interesting to me, but I guess... Oh, no, he didn't cut a Void... Yeah, I think he did cut a Void Seeker. No, there's still all 3 there. I was going to say, that would be pretty weird. I could kind of understand the logic if you were, like, worried about all you're going to get is the Sett buff. But I don't think you can play that way. I think that's playing not to lose. I think taking out one of your best removal... I mean, it's not like every unit's going to be buffed, right? God, I can't believe how close that Ride the Wind was. Pris was so close to pulling that one off. Alright, looks like it's about finished up with the boarding. Alright, we've got... That's the arena battlefield, correct? We saw that one in our video yesterday. That is... I believe it's the... When something is dealt damage, draw card, maybe? Arena's Gates? Oh, no, it's the game... Start with a point. Gotcha. And then that one is Windswept Hillock. Units here have ganking. All right. So that is the one that is going to be fought over. They will be fighting over the right side mostly, I imagine, because that is the one that does something. Resolving our mulligan. Fight or flight. Move a unit from the battlefield, from a battlefield to its base. Hidden. Gotcha. And we are just starting off with a 2-drop. The Merchant. Opponent leads on Kithria, plus what else did they do? The resources are tapped. No? Did I miss some? The resources shouldn't be tapped, right? And then we're deckhanding right away, getting off to an early lead. We actually drew some spells this game that has the potential to help us. We're just sitting on Incinerate and Gust. I know Incinerate. Which one is Gust again? The returning unit. Perfect. Probably more often than not going to use that on our own units to keep them safe from combat. Are we going to do that with Deckhand, or are we going to trade? We're just going to go for the Incinerate. I think that makes sense. It feels bad because we're just expending Sett, right? It feels so hard to trade for just Sett, right? But does it cost an energy to use Sett? If it costs an energy to use Sett, then this play is a slam dunk and it's not scary at all. Oh, it's recycle. So it's like totally fine. I think Pris correctly just assumes that he's not going to get much better value out of the Incinerate anyways. If he can get his opponent to recycle an early resource, that's like as good as it's going to get. So yeah, this is a totally fine exchange. And it looks like they're just going to... Oh, they are going to do it. Okay. I think it makes sense on both sides, right? I think that play makes sense from Pris. I think it makes sense for the enemy to want to keep their extra unit alive, though. Yeah, I definitely think leading on stack deck makes a lot of sense. We're not really doing much else. And then I would be pretty interested in playing our Annie just because, like, even though we don't have a great thing to pick back up, I think we should want to add to the board. I don't think we have enough cards in our trash to really want to play the Vi. Maybe I'm wrong about that. The set's pretty massive, too. I would be, I think, pretty interested in maybe retreating both of our battlefields. I mean, we're up to 5 victory points already. And I think it's, like, pretty safe to assume that we would just lose both of them. So I think retreating both of our units makes a ton of sense to me. We have such a nice point lead that I think we just want to leave all of our resources available that we can. I don't think there's any reason to give up a unit for free. Alternatively, we could hide the fight or flight, but I don't think that is like particularly good either, right? Isn't that kind of the same thing as just moving them without the spell? It is, right? Yeah, it's just the same thing. I mean, you would rather just use that on a unit that's not ready, that had to conquer the battlefield the turn prior. No reason to use that as a spell here. He's tanking on this stack deck. I would be really inclined to take the Darius. I think just because we don't have a big threat, I think we need a big threat to maybe help close out this game. I don't think Incinerate does a lot. I think he's definitely not thinking about Incinerate, right? I feel like Darius is a slam dunk here. I wonder what I'm missing. Or if he's just thinking he really wants to be able to double spell. Yeah, I think the Darius just makes a ton of sense. I still kind of think I like Annie here. It could be Vi. Yeah, I think the double retreat is something that I called out. I think double retreat makes a ton of sense. Yeah, it's for sure Annie. For sure Annie. And we're pulling the stack deck. I think that makes sense too. And then next turn we can Darius plus stack deck. And I think that's a pretty reasonable plan. Or Gust, right? Depending on... I assume we're going to try and save Gust for our attempt to win the game 2 turns from now, probably, right? That would be my guess. Oh, we probably, yeah. He took Ride the Wind so fast. I agree with that, 100%. Basically, I think we're going to be able to get to 7 points pretty easy next turn. And then I think we're just holding all of our tricks to try and send everything to get... Or maybe we just... Kind of depends how the opponent plays it, but we might just... Since you have to get 2 points in the same turn anyways, we might just... And I think it's pretty unlikely to expect to be able to hold against the board that the Sett opponent is putting together. I wouldn't be surprised at all if we only prioritize going up to 6 points next turn and keeping a bunch of our units safe. That way, we get to get points 7 and 8 on the following turn pretty easily through most spells. Yeah, I think this all makes a lot of sense. So we're probably... Does that mean we're not looking to play Darius next turn? It's very interesting. I guess we just have to kind of wait and see how our opponent sequences are. So they're just leaving the left battlefield open. That makes it really easy. Yep. I agree with that. Just take our 6 point. And I don't think we have a lot of interest in, like, doing much else. Yeah, like, I don't even know if we play anything else, do we? Maybe we play the Vi. Yeah, I agree with this. No reason to play anything else. Just save all of our units to make sure that we can take over both battlefields next turn. Seems like we've got our opponent kind of in the hard lock. Like, we just sacrifice the deckhand on the left battlefield. Yep. Yeah, this game feels like it was a pretty heavy snowball. It feels like things got pretty out of reach pretty quickly. Yep, lots of the buffs. The buffs be happening. Yep. Point for the enemy. Up to 5 they go. And then we've got Sett at 9, and then they've got 5 might in the right battlefield at the moment. And then now they're just debating how they want to do the rest of their reinforcing, presumably. Is cleave for the turn or just the combat? Because if we can set up a couple of small trades and then cleave, that seems like that's going to be the easiest way to do it. Yeah, you get it for the turn. So we're probably looking to... Alright, wait. Oh, they challenged our Darius. That's tough. That makes it worse for sure. So our double Darius attack with cleave, that I think we were going to set up is not going to work, unfortunately. Kais has got to be a good draw, right? I guess maybe not if we're... So we're just setting up the... Oh, no, never mind. We just make a massive eye. Yeah, we just make a massive eye because of Ride the Wind. How did I miss that? That should have been common sense to me. I'm a little disappointed in myself. Yeah, so we're just making an absolutely massive eye. God, move and ready. And it just gets solo take. That's insane. How did I miss that? I know I'm just learning the game, but I'm pretty disappointed. I feel like I should have seen that combo coming a mile away. That's awesome, though. So just Vi, Ride the Wind. Didn't even really need the cleave. Vi, Ride the Wind while it's exhausted. Move it into the battlefield as a massive unit. It readies and dominates, and then because it's ganking, we just got to use our opponent's battlefield against them. That was sick. Really well played. Really, really well played by Prismat. No surprise, obviously. No surprise, obviously. This looks like a... Is this Zaun Warrens, right? It's a Zaun Warrens mirror match. Pretty sure that's which one that one is. Yep, Zaun Warrens mirror match. When you conquer here, rummage. Discard one, draw one. Really interesting games. Really interesting. Alright, so we got Void Seeker in hand. Interesting. Yeah, we're definitely mulling Fight or Flights. And Pris is going to mull the Darius too. That makes sense. I would just be a little scared after the way the last game went, just because we just didn't have a big threat for a large portion of the game. But we don't have a 2-drop yet either, and that's obviously the reason. Yeah, you can't. I don't think you can justify keeping or not mulling the full 2 cards when you don't have a 2-drop in your hand yet. And then this is just stack deck guard plus guard, right? Pretty sure it's just stack deck plus guard. No way we're already thinking about like killing the Poro or something. Like, so we're just saving the stack deck. Maybe we're gonna play it when they... I mean, it's effectively the same thing, right? So they're on Kiana. Okay. We should play the stack deck, no? Or Void Seeking instead. Alright. He really values the tempo. He really values the victory point tempo. I would have been very scared to like recycle a resource so early. Now, I do agree. Yeah, getting rid of one of the cleaves for the Zaun Warrens makes a lot of sense. We don't need the second copy. I would be not that surprised if we recycled Annie and picked up Void Seeker, but then we're just very low on resources. It's kind of scary, no? Yeah, we're just... I think this makes sense as well. It's still not ideal, though. It just puts more power on the board. I kind of think there might have been value in having the Void Seeker, but... I guess what's Void Seeker going to do, right? You know that they're always going to buff the Kiana. So the Void Seeker's kind of irrelevant. I guess I'm not surprised that after I'm talking my way through it, Pris already had the right play. Let me make sure I understand what Vayne does again. Part of me would be really interested, and maybe I'm just biased from seeing how the last game played out. Part of me would be really interested in actively not wanting to play the Vi and just holding it. Now, obviously, this ends up not being super relevant because we drew another Vi anyways. But I would be reasonably interested in just waiting to try and find a Ride the Wind and set up a similar win to last game. What card am I looking for again? I'm looking for Vayne. I am looking for Vayne. So they did not... Yeah, that makes sense. So you don't want to play that then. It's... You kind of... If an opponent controls a battlefield, I enter ready. Okay. Yeah, well... Then you definitely don't want to play Vayne. So I think it was either the play that he made or Annie. And I'm sure Pris's play is right. I'm kind of just talking out loud, of course. The enemy gets their rummage ability from the Kiana conquering Zaun Warrens. Four cards in our trash for our Vi. And they're challenging, presumably killing our Vi. We're totally fine with that because we have another Vi anyways. But we're just so low on resources. I wonder if there was a way we could have played this game without recycling so many resources aggressively. Probably not, right? Probably not. +3. I wonder if there's any world where our opponent only has the one resource up. I wonder if we're going to do any... Yeah, we're just discarding the Kaisa. Interesting. And then we're going up to 2, and we're probably... Oh, we have the Ride the Wind Vi. Okay. Unlike last game, though, we're not very far ahead on point tempo. And our board is quite a bit weaker. I wonder if we're going to Vayne Cleave Kiana. That doesn't sound good. I mean, the Sett is just making combat so hard for us. Yeah, I mean, I think this is the right play, but all we're getting is a recycle. It feels so bad. I mean, we're getting our victory point also, so it's like, it's certainly not nothing, but... we just discarded the Ride the Wind and drew another one. I mean, I'm surprised that we discarded Ride the Wind, but... So presumably he didn't want to draw another one right away. I guess that makes sense. I mean, it doesn't really do a lot here until we're actually going for the win. Also, I'm kind of surprised we left Vayne in. I would have thought maybe we would have wanted to retreat it back, but... I mean, if he values not recycling, which I think makes sense... I don't think you can just play the whole... I don't think you can play the game recycling resources every turn. I think you'll just never get to your bigger cards or be able to double spell. Discarded Might. Holy hell. Our opponent just has everything. I kind of feel like this is... Wow. This feels very similar to Game 1 to me. You know, following along with the plays, and I feel like Pris is making... really good plays, and I feel like our opponent is just, like, every turn playing, like, crazy haymakers. They're staying, like, pretty card fluid, like, pretty high on cards because of the Kiana. Their units are never dying because of the Sett. Yeah, it's tough. I feel like we're so far behind here. We just have no card draw, no big cards. Like, we're just beyond cooked here, no? I don't even know what the Annie can pick up. We've still got that Void Seeker in the graveyard. That doesn't do anything. We could pick up a stack deck and pray that we find something really good. It's so tough. Yeah, I mean, my gut instinct is... Annie, pick up, stacked deck, play Vi. Untap your 2 resources, but... I mean, that's clearly not good, right? I do think you want to get Vi in play. Vi with Ride the Wind here, and a huge graveyard, or trash as it were. I mean, that kind of feels like that's the only way for us to win. I know you want to save that as, like, your little OTK combo, but we're so far away from that. We need to be able to just fight for the board. Opponent still has 4 cards in hand. Yeah, I would just be pretty demoralized. I feel like we're just beyond cooked here. Yep. I think... So, we're choosing to not play the Annie, with the logic being... He wants to be able to get to 7 resources next turn, I think, right? I think that's what that has to mean. Okay, so we're gonna force... I'm a little surprised we're going for this, but... So we just made our Vi... I don't know exactly how big we made it. 6, I think. I think we had 11, so I think we actually made it 8. Which play... Oh, yeah, no, play... Yeah, 8 is, of course, the right number, because the only buff that you could expend for Might is Kiana, so then it would go to 4 and then 7. So, again, no surprise. Pris finding the right line, the right number of cards to remove to the Vi. Drawing Darius is good. I mean, Darius is, like, probably the draw that we wanted, right? But I think we're still so far behind. We have to retreat the Vi, right? I feel like there's no way we win if we don't retreat the Vi. Yeah. Gotta retreat Vi. Tough. Really tough. Opponent still has 1 trillion cards in their hand. 5 feels like an actual trillion. Alright. Just another couple of buffs. Yeah, we just never get to win a combat again, basically. If we had more victory points, we could set up Annie plus Ride the Wind again and get double Vi attack. I mean, that would be good, but yeah, we're like 2 victory points away. But I think Pris played really well. I mean, there's no way that we could have gotten those points, I don't think. I just feel like our opponent's units were always completely gigantic and never died because of this Sett mechanic. He had to just move cards around, right? There's no way we discarded a Might to draw a card. Might would be one of your best cards here, no? Just a free +3 Might. Yeah, stack deck. I mean, it lets us proc our Darius, but it's still not great. Oh, we drew in Fighter, Flighter, Incinerate. It's got to be one of those, right? Yeah? I mean, we get to ready our resources because of Annie. There's nothing else that we're going to do that makes sense. We just play Darius. And then do we want to expend the... Oh, this play is better. I was thinking, do we want to expend the Kiana buff? But this play is way better. We trade, and then now we get to play Darius as a 7 and readied. Yeah, this is better. This is better than the getting the Kiana buff like I was thinking at first. Really good sequencing again. Pris doing his part, but I think we just got outdrawn this game. Or maybe the matchup's just bad, right? But definitely, I don't really see a lot of decisions I would have wanted to do differently. Like I said, I like talking out loud to kind of think through what the options are, but I think all of Pris's decisions made a lot of sense to me. What happened to our Darius? Oh, I think he's... Yeah, he just conceded. Yep, that's a wrap. That'll do it. We just got obliterated in that game 3, unfortunately. Uh, well, I mean, those games were really fun. I getting to see the Vi Ride the Wind combo, that's sick. That's definitely something to keep an eye on. I guess Annie's the only legend that can do that, right? Is there another? Oh, or Jinx, right? Interesting. So that's something to keep an eye on. That's a really cool little interaction. Uh, and yeah, I mean, I immediately feel like I learned Infinite from that watching that set. That was sweet. We got to see two different decks kind of go at each other. We got to see the strength of Sett. No, I mean in those games 1 and 3, you saw the Sett legend mechanic on just full display, right? The enemy's units literally never died. I mean, he just had gigantic creatures in play at every stage of the game, and Pris's cards just felt completely outclassed, right? Like, so when he wasn't doing his combo wins with Vi Ride the Wind or getting value out of Kaisa, it felt like his Incinerates were outclassed because they're just trading for his opponent recycling a resource, basically. His Void Seekers felt underwhelming. I wonder if, I mean, Sett going forward, I wonder if there's a way to make Sett really good against Kaisa. I feel like there's a lot of the same avenues, right? It seems like Sett's ability is very good against the red class removal. That seems like a good matchup lineup you want to secure. Obviously, there's other factors at play, but no, I think that was terrific. If you guys like the same, definitely throw me out a like, a comment, or subscribe. I'd appreciate it. Definitely helps the channel grow up. And yeah, we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna keep doing this going forward until Sett release. We're gonna keep trying to find different people to highlight. There will obviously be some repeats. I wouldn't be surprised if we do more Pris, just because Pris is the GOAT. But yeah, no, I really appreciate you guys watching. Thanks so much, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.